This is our explainer on Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us.
So we first meet our main character, Lily Bloom, literally moments after she's given what she calls a disastrous eulogy at her own father's funeral. And here's the thing, she's not really mourning him, she's escaping him. You see, to the world, her dad was this adored town mayor, but to Lily, he was something else entirely, something she's honestly just relieved to be free of. She needs to get away, just for a second, to find a moment of peace, so she ends up on a random rooftop sitting right on the edge. But turns out she's not alone. There's a guy there, and he's just kicking a patio chair with this rage that, surprisingly, she kind of envies. He's tall, he's handsome, and he is clearly having just as bad a day as she is.
And this, right here, is where the whole story really just ignites. It's this immediate, totally unfiltered connection between two complete strangers, and it's all built around a game they make up on the spot called Naked Truths.
The contrast between them is, well, it's immediate. On the one hand, you have Lily, who is still reeling from her father's abuse, but, she's still dreaming of this epic, holy grail kind of love and opening her own flower shop. And on the other hand, you've got Ryle. He's this brilliant neurosurgeon, but he is jaded, he's cynical, he's just lost a kid on his operating table, and he's convinced love is just a burden. I mean, they're complete opposites, but they're pulled together by this raw, honest intensity of the moment.
And then Ryle says this, and for Lily, whose entire life has been shaped by her bad father, this one sentence, it changes everything. It offers this shade of gray in a world she's only ever seen in black and white. And it's a line that's going to echo, with just devastating irony, throughout the rest of her story.
That connection on the rooftop, it's undeniable. But just as this new relationship is starting to take shape in the present, Lily's past starts to bubble up in a very, very real way.
Okay, so, flash forward 6 months. Lily has taken her inheritance, and she's doing it. She's opening her dream floral shop in Boston. She hires this woman, Elisa, on a total whim, and they become best friends instantly. And then, in this crazy twist of fate, there's a small accident in the shop, and Elisa's brother comes to the rescue. And guess who it is? Ryle Kincaid. Just like that, he's back in her life, and this time, yeah, it really feels like fate.
Everything with Ryle seems perfect. Almost too perfect. He's charming, he's ambitious, he's totally devoted to her. But then, while she's unpacking, she stumbles upon a box of her old teenage journals. And these aren't just diaries, they're unsent letters to Ellen DeGeneres detailing the entire story of the first boy she ever loved.
And just like that, we get pulled back into Lily's past. We hear her own 15-year-old voice as she tells us about Atlas. He was her secret, a boy living in the abandoned house right behind her family's home with absolutely nowhere else to go.
Atlas Corrigan. He was a senior in high school when Lily was just 15. He was quiet and kind, and he carried this pain that Lily recognized immediately, because she saw a version of it in her own house every single day. Their whole connection was forged in secret. Lily basically became his lifeline, sneaking him food and letting him use their shower, and in return, he became hers. He was this calm, steady presence in the storm of her father's rage. They bonded over their shared pain of abuse and found so much comfort in each other. He eventually had to leave for Boston, but he promised her that one day she'd find him there. But their story, it ends in horrible violence, when Lily's father finds him and nearly kills him, leaving this trauma that binds them together forever.
So reading these journals forces Lily to face her past, but she's about to discover that the past isn't just in her memories. It's about to repeat itself in the most terrifying way you can imagine.
The romance with Ryle is a total whirlwind. I mean, they get married in Vegas after just a few weeks, and then, only 2 months into their marriage, the dream completely shatters. Over a dropped casserole dish, of all things, Ryle's anger just explodes. He shoves her hard. She falls, hits her head. And just as fast as it happened, the cycle begins. Literally minutes later, he is on his knees, sobbing, begging her for forgiveness, promising he'll never, ever do it again.
And right there, in that moment, comes this absolutely horrifying realization for Lily. She is now standing in her mother's shoes. The one situation she swore her entire life she would never tolerate. That line she swore she would never let anyone cross. It's been crossed. And she's just paralyzed. She doesn't leave.
From there, the cycle only escalates. The second incident is so much worse. Ryle finds an old, hidden phone number for Atlas, who, by the way, has briefly reappeared in Lily's life as a successful restaurant owner, and in a jealous rage, Ryle pushes her down a flight of stairs. But this time, he has an explanation. He reveals this deep, dark trauma from his childhood, a terrible accident involving his brother, and Lily, who is clinging to the good man she fell in love with, convinces herself this is the reason, that his anger isn't really him, it's his pain, and so, she stays.
But love and understanding? They can't fix this. The pattern is set, and it's all leading to one final, brutal confrontation that forces Lily to make a choice, not just for herself, but for her entire future.
And the trigger? It's her past. It's always her past. Ryle finds her old journals, those letters to Alan. He reads about the depth of her connection with Atlas, and something inside of him just snaps, completely.
The violence is just terrifying. He slams her against a door. He headbutts her, splitting her head open. Blood is blurring her vision. He bites her shoulder. He tries to force himself on her. And in that one moment, the man she loves is completely gone, replaced by the exact monster she has always feared.
Lying on the floor, dazed and bleeding, she tries to call for help. And then she remembers Atlas. Years ago, he tucked his phone number inside her phone case. Now Ryle had found it and destroyed her phone during that second incident, but Lily confesses this terrible truth. She had memorized it, just in case. The very act of memorizing it felt like a betrayal of her love for Ryle, but it's also the one thing that's about to save her life.
She makes the call. Atlas comes for her, no questions asked, and gets her to a hospital. And in the aftermath of this horrific night, as she's trying to figure out what to do, she discovers the stakes have just been raised in a way she never could have imagined. She's pregnant with Ryle's child.
Lily spends the rest of her pregnancy away from Ryle, giving him one last chance to get help, but knowing deep down what she has to do. The real moment of truth comes after she gives birth to their daughter, Emerson. Ryle comes to the hospital, and as he holds his newborn child in his arms, Lily just watches him. And she asks him a question. She asks how he would feel if Emerson came to him one day and told him that her husband did to her what he has done to Lily. And that's when she knows. For her daughter. For her own mother. For herself. This cycle of abuse that has defined the women in her family, it has to be broken. Looking at her baby girl, she makes a vow. It stops here, with me and you. It ends with us, and she asks Ryle for a divorce.
In the end, Lily's story is this incredibly powerful look at all the gray areas between love and abuse, between strength and forgiveness, and it leaves us with a really profound question. When you've spent your entire life running away from a painful past, what does it truly take to summon the courage to stop it from becoming your future?